since Marcus is the raceboard designer, now we have foilboards. Foilboards becoming bigger and bigger, and to us, I don't see any limit with it. In my opinion, this will, we believe this will overtake any other market in surfing or any kind of thing. In my opinion, you can do this with everything. All right, so maybe Marcus can say a few things about himself or about the design. All the three boards and all the range that we have now is here, and they're actually are also updated. And one will change. The 3-in-1 foilboard will adjust. That's one that we need to update, which is actually brings me to another point. We don't want to change a lot our gear, but unfortunately with foilboard, that's impossible, at least for now. So yeah, so the Eagle Pack will change, but also Marcus can talk to you a little bit more what is the range all about.
Yeah, so basically with the Prone, what you can start with.
You need to tell me what you
Yeah, right. The Prone board is basically it's all one shape in all those dimensions. Basically, I don't do heaps of prone foiling. I've just worked with Jimmy pretty closely with this shape and went through a whole bunch of different changes, and we've settled on that. That one's pretty solid. So we don't have any complaints with that. And a bunch of guys in Queensland, I think a lot of guys have ended up with some of these, and I had a lot of good feedback from that. It's nothing too crazy on the bottom. It's pretty much just flat. It's got, on the longer shapes, you'll see a lot of my boards have this plate, like a raised bit, and that's just because the board actually has a bit of rocker, and I don't want the foil to be mounted on the wrong angle, so it just keeps that angle down at the right angle. It's got a concave deck, just seems more comfortable, and Jimmy likes to be close as he can to the foil. He reckons it gives you a better feel. And yeah, they're pretty much all the same except the bigger shapes. The shorter shapes don't have that because the shorter shapes have no rocker, and yeah, the bigger ones have the plate. But besides that, that's pretty much them. I'm sure probably all looked at it already in the factory or whatever. That's that. And then sort of from there into the SUP range is there's two different SUP boards. There's the square nose one, and that is more sort of trying to get people to ride a shorter, fatter board, so you've got less length when you're pumping and surfing. The length is a bit annoying. So obviously if you've got a 6-foot board with a pointy nose, it's going to be less stable than a 6-foot board with a wide nose. So that's the reason, but why there's two shapes. So yeah, usually if I surf SUP foil, I'll use like a, I don't know, 5'4" or 5'2" or something, but then when I downwind, I use a 6-footer. So when I'm using a 6-footer and I don't need that length for stability, I have the pull-in ends. Because when you're downwinding, obviously there's a lot of water moving around, bits of chop that can clip the board, and the less board you've got, the better. But you need the length to take on, because you've got to paddle into a bit of chop that might be ankle high. So that's sort of the reason with the two. All the SUPs will have that raised plate, same reason as the Prones, just for have the perfect angle set up on the foil. It has on the deck just the arch bar, and it only goes to, it's only for your back foot. Just bring this up because I spoke with AA about this before, and because if you have it at the front, you don't actually have your front foot in the dead middle of the board, and we found that out when we had the arch bar running all the way through, and it was just super uncomfortable. So as long as you're back, it'll be a reference for your back foot, and your front foot will pretty much automatically go to the right spot. I don't know what else to say.
I lost the nose. The other one. Oh, did you? I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's over there.
So, yeah, you would just talk
Yeah.
about this nose there.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the main difference with these two designs is, yeah, when you're using a board that's longer than you need to, if you're going to have two subs, you know, like the surfing like the downwind, your downwind one will always be longer. So obviously there's so much less board when you pull in the nose like that. So quite often you'll be riding low because you're just purely scared going downwind, and if you've got less board to hit the water, then it's better. So yeah, that's the main reason. And also the downwind tail is pulled in a lot more too. So, any questions?
Are they going to adapt, like obviously your wide point to join those, like you guys buy noses, it's have to be the same, like are they going to be interchangeable?
Yeah, that's the idea behind it.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, so I think this was when I designed it. It was for a 5'4" and a 6 foot.
Will fit.
Yeah, I think that's what this is when you swap it over.
Right.
I just did it ages ago, so I can't actually remember.
Yeah, so that was my question, like
Yeah,
every
so
nose is going to...
That is the actual point of it. You could have 3 pieces and have a really short sup for the surf, and then if you want to downwind, chuck your longer nose on.
And 800 grams weight difference or something? Dylan was mentioning
How
that.
much extra weight for the things about a kilo?
Yeah, it's usually about that.
Yeah. I think it varies, but it's always around a kilo.
It's about a kilo and then 1.2, 1.2. But I think we can still improve on that too as well. So there's still more room on the tubes and on the plates, but at the moment we don't want to take a risk. The key is it has to be perfect.
So with the relationship between the volume of your normal SUP surfboard and a SUP surfboard board, we have found that you definitely can go smaller. You know, so
Volume-wise?
Volume-wise,
Yeah.
because you can't really go up the length. So yeah, if you ride 125 litre surf SUP, you know, I can go down to 115 litre and go. With the prone foil boards, the feeling I'm getting is don't go smaller, you know, volume-wise. You can really only go up volume, you know. So if you like a 30 litre surf SUP, stick to your 30 litre for your prone. Does anyone have any other experience on that?
So, like I say, I mainly work with Jimmy on this.
Yeah.
And we just pump litres into it. You're not trying to bury a rail into a wave. So generally he's riding shorter, but more volume. And the more volume means you can scrap onto waves still on the short board. So you'll see, like, I think our biggest prone might be 5'8".
Yeah.
And it's got a ton of volume, way more than you would use in a surf. I'd assume that what you use in a surfboard.
Yeah. So I guess what I get into is the relationship with the volume of your normal prone board.
Yeah.
Versus, what sort of a drive would you use that as for going to a prone surfboard? About the same volume?
No.
More.
More.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess probably what Jimmy would use in a surfboard would be, he's probably using another 10 or 15 litres in his prone, but probably a foot and a half shorter.
Yeah, no,
So,
I understand the length. It's sort of, the volume is really the only thing you can relate it to in a way.
Yeah, yes and no. Obviously, the shorter you go is harder to scrap into, and Jimmy's a powerful guy, so what he rides won't be for everyone. And yeah, so you know, I know Justin, who's I don't think he's in here. He's riding a 411, and that was his first board, and he really wasn't sure what to get. You probably like Justin, and yeah, he learned on that to foil and scrapes into everything on that. No worries. And I think now he's sort of leaning to the 4.6, and he's not tiny.
He's pretty big.
Yeah.
What would he be, like 90 at least? Maybe more. Yeah, 65 like me.
Mid-80s. Oh, more you say?
No, 80, 85.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think in relation to volume, how you talking about volume compared to your normal SUP, I'm finding the opposite to you, to be honest. Because I don't really care about low volume on a foil board. I want more volume and I want to be corky, and I want to be able to just paddle in on the smallest bit of chop. Like I went out there this morning, paddle 100 metres past the break and catch a bit of chop. My surf sub there is 62 litres. My foil board is 79. Big small.
Yeah, it's a different level of riding. So
Yeah.
many people can go down to that.
I
You
know,
are
it's-
light.
yeah.
But, yeah.
No, yeah, but I'm saying it's still relative. Like
Yeah.
whether I'm light or heavy,
Yeah.
I want more buoyancy in my foil board because I don't need to plant that into the face of the wave. So, and I don't need it to be, like, having high volume for me in that is actually beneficial, whereas having high volume in the surf sub is detrimental.
Yeah.
In my opinion. What do you think, Guy?
I agree.
What was the between your, the litre difference between your just sub and your subfoil? Is it 20 litres you said?
Yeah, so probably on average my surf sub's about 65 litres, and that is, yeah, it's going to be, it's over 10 litres, so I don't know if that is a percentage wise, obviously. It's about 12 litres, 15 litres, and the reason I actually ride more litres because I was first tested boards with Jimmy, so I was making boards more volume to ride with James, and we could make two different models and be up in the water and swap and get an actual guide with what's going on. And then I just stuck with that volume, and Jimmy's got a bit more because I just found it so much better than riding my sub volume. Trying to get that out of the water to downwind or even on a wave, it's harder. So.
I think that's because when you subsurf, very few people can subsurf to the volume ratio that you can.
Yeah.
The point there is making around most people that subsurf and be on 21.
Yeah.
Or where you're on
So maybe it's
So it's more the-
like for like then maybe.
21. Like the subsurf.
Yeah.
That's the best place to start
Yeah.
for beginners is volume, litre for litre.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe what you ride on your surf sub for the average person, match it with your
Yeah.
foil. To me, like, I just personally say to someone, like, they come to the shop and talk to me, I'll say more, what do you ride? Length and width. I don't actually care about volume. It's like, if you had too much volume, yeah, you'll be corky, but is that a problem? I don't know. I don't think it is to be corky. Like,
Not
I'm
now
corky.
not now that they're shorter, but you know, a
Yeah.
year ago, it's 125 litre board was
Yeah.
76.
Yeah,
It was now 66.
yeah, yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
that's changed as well.
Yeah, so yeah, I think even more so you need that volume because you've got a smaller cork. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about it. Obviously, what I do might be different to everyone else, and yeah, like I use a very small surf sub, so depends on how hard you push in what you ride on your surf sub too, I guess, to the relation. But I personally think way better to go over volume. I've never ridden a board and go, well, that's got too much volume. I've more ridden a board and go, oh, that's too long, or that's too wide, or it's too heavy or something. But volume-wise, I've never gone, oh, that's too corky. I just find that if I'm corky, I'll probably just get the wave earlier or easier. But yeah, I think it's more dimensions. Like, you might really want your dimensions to be right. Whatever's good. And, you know, like speaking to you and Mike, you're saying, you know, 7 foot's good for you guys because you want something easier to get into the
A bit
wave.
more glide.
Yeah. And obviously our 7-footer is made for really big guys. It's really wide and it's too wide for you. So, yeah, I mean, we're still all learning. It's so new and we're so new to it as well. And yeah, we're always working. Like every board I ride isn't actually what's there. I'm always trying new stuff with James and trying to come up with new stuff. But yeah, we have to listen to what you're saying as well. Try to obviously take that into consideration. You've already.
But maybe I'm so hung up on the volume,
I think you are.
right? that I'm sticking to the volume and but I go too short. So maybe, because as a sufferer, it's like, I can't ride 135 litres. You know, it's just way too big. But really, I need to go to that.
Yeah, I wouldn't dream of riding 70 8 litres.
Yeah, so maybe we should try the 6.8, whatever it is, 1635 litre.
Yeah, and I think the weight of it comes into it a lot as well. You know, it's like,
Yeah. Big time, the weight's huge.
yeah. So, and if you've got a board that's, you know, 5 kilos and that's 6.6, and a board that's 5 kilos and 7.6, the 7.6 is going to feel so much heavier for you because you've got to pump all that weight. And a lot of foiling is, when you're foiling a lot of the time, you're trimming the board. Like when you surf, it's not you just stand there. Like the energy always changes, so you've got to lean forward or back to have your height right. And the longer the board is out, the harder it is. So you got more board to have to control. So, yeah. So which is brings me back to the surf shape. That's why that shape is the surf shape, to ride a shorter board and have more control on flight. But after talking to you in the factory, and
Maybe you just, as a supper and a surfer, you have your volume and you just going beyond that, you're going to lose performance. But in flying, it just doesn't matter.
yeah, you're not using the board.
No,
It's just a platform to catch the
So
water.
I'm going to try the next size up.
What it is, not where it is. What it is important where it is.
Or is it a solver?
I think the trend is for sure there. I mean, when you consider what our range in sub surfboards is, it's probably big. In general, we just kind of keep it there because we don't want to change things too much. But what's definitely clear is that the foil board range is too small, and especially the prone surfboard foil range. And I actually also believe that the biggest reason why people don't surf foil is because most surfers still think it's gay. But once that's changed, and it will change, at some point the surfer will just as much think that's cool and it's just as good as surfing, or maybe like us, better than that. Then that will be just another board they need. They can consider it just like a tool. Like you have a hybrid or a short board or a gun. I mean, even more so. Maybe a gun is still cool, but you know, hybrid is already enough. Sometimes probably bird feels like that. No, birds like, oh no, this board sucks. But 85% of our customers love that. So, yeah, but they don't know how to surf. But what? You know, it's like, and they don't surf good waves either. Yeah, but okay, that's still 85% of the people. And then, you know, we have to produce stuff like that. And that's the magic too. Once you make bird listen to that customer, that he designs it, or you too. So I would like to listen. Is anybody interested to see some more foil boards, different shapes, or has ideas of I mean, we obviously have ideas, but maybe it's good to take it into consideration now. And yeah, that's what we do anyways. Maybe it's different in France, and it's different at the Gold Coast, or in Sydney, or in Ireland.
Yeah, straight away Andrew and Mark would sort of tell me what they need. It makes sense. So yeah, it's like, I'm open to, if people want to come to me and say that they don't like something about the boards, then that's constructive. I need to know. And if you've got ideas on stuff you want or custom, then we can do all that. We're all learning, especially in the foiling.
Okay. So definitely some more program boards for sure. Maybe also more beginner ships, and these boards are pretty much done for beginners. And,
Yes, I mean, for the beginner, I've mainly been putting them on longer
Bigger
boards. Yeah, like I was talking about Justin before, and I told him to get the 411, which I knew was going to be a little big. And he learned to foil from scratch on it. He's quite a good surfer too. But,
exactly.
yeah. I think you just sort of get a bigger size board to learn. It's almost like surfing.
He had 5'10", 5'10", Justin. 5'8", 5'10", the green one, the old shape.
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay, so we had that.
He did transition to
Yeah.
that.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the perfect example. He was the
Yeah.
full-on surfer. He came the first time. It's like, oh, it sucks and this and what's that. And
Yeah.
then somehow he got put on. And
He was on the bigger one for stuff or.
Yeah, he was.
Super strong.
But yeah, it's sort of,
Has
you
he
just get on.
surfed again?
No, he don't do the full totally. Yes, he did, and that's the part he said he didn't know how to surf anymore. So now he's gone back to doing alternating.
To see if he gets this
surf.
in.
Yeah, so don't surf.
But yeah, I think if you're selling prime foil boards, you just, if they're learning, you'll put them on a much bigger board than you would probably think to learn. Do you guys agree? Like, you just paddle into a wave easier, the board's not as twitchy.
So you want as much volume as you can possibly go down.
Yeah, like with the prime foil board, because they're so small and you get a lot of volume, and like especially if you were to sell someone at 5'8" or 5'3", there's so much volume, they'll paddle into nearly anything. And that's the beauty of the foil as well. You can, once you're up, you can surf nothing. So if you can catch the nothing later, that's better.
Yeah, I've actually been proning on an undersized SCP out here.
Yeah.
And having massive volume is actually really helpful.
Oh, that was my board? The
Yeah.
510? Yeah, that was the 510. Yeah?
And it actually makes catching boards really easy.
Yeah.
My regular prone boards I use at home, where you kind of have to have a little prone to get it going.
Yeah. Yeah, same in Perth, the guy come in, he was the bigger guy looking for a board, and I lent him my downwind board,
Yeah.
and he was proning it and he loved it. So yeah, it's all relative to the person, I guess.
Yeah, maybe John, you want to say a couple words about the windsurf one?
Windsurf one.
Yeah. Now there's one more board that's not here, but you saw it at the factory. It's similar to this. In fact, actually, I'm wondering why we put windsurf tracks everywhere on every single board, but we forgot to put it on the boards. Because with these boards, it probably would work
Yeah,
very well.
that's
Actually. Yeah, exactly. In fact, when he said that to us, I said, "Shit, we need to put it on all the probably the downwind one, whatever. At least you can put the mast. It's probably the one board of all the range we have these tracks that is actually useful." So yeah, that's been done. And then I think you told me about the volume distribution there is a little bit different because you want to uphold the same.
Yeah, I think the only biggest change I made versus kind of a SUV board for the dedicated windsurf foil. They're trying to distribute more volume, more area into those, so it can be a haul shop. You have to stand on the front board, straddle the mast, and get up to the sail out on the water. Like doing windsurf as well. So otherwise, it's really not much different. And of course, it has some strategies.
Yeah, and then there's one more missing, which was the 4-in-1, which I hope you saw. It was at the factory. It's still, I could bring it back here. In fact, there is also some windsurf sale that we can try that tomorrow. It's actually windy. So the windsurf 4-in-1, it's based literally on the speed.
If you want to,
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
I just got a question about foot straps on subfoil.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
I've never used them, so I don't really know.
So we had from customers and shops in what's your...
We pretty much just made our first foot strap template for a tow board with Jimmy, and he's getting them in his prone boards now. Yeah, so if you want foot straps, we can put them in. We've got the template and it works, as you know, it's in the right spot. Because you obviously it sets up to where the foil is. Yeah, but I haven't used it. I've actually, the board that's getting made for me now for Hawaii is going to have inserts.
For downwind?
Yeah, in the race I'll be doing, you've got to get up in nearly the flat, so I'm hoping it will help with that. But to be honest, I can't answer until...
I haven't done it, but I have some friends who tried it back home, and they said it makes foiling way easier.
It seems like it's a country thing. Like it seems like in Australia, New Zealand,
No one's doing it. Yeah, in America, everyone's doing it.
I'm just interested to know why or how.
Yeah, I spoke to a guy down in Margaret River 2 weeks ago, and he was foiling on some big stuff, paddling in on like 6 to 8 foot waves, just obviously fat waves, and he was using straps, and he was not using straps for probably the year when he learnt, and then he put it on, and he said it makes you turn harder. You can turn way harder.
And I can imagine, a lot of times when you lose it in fall, you're just the tiniest bit off with foil.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're up on your toes, your heels, and you just feel
Yeah.
like out with the straps, and just get rid of that altogether.
Yeah, maybe.
Until you bring it in.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, sorry, I can't answer it, honestly.
So does anybody need straps? always on the board? Obviously not in Australia and in New
Well, I
Zealand.
don't know, that was just my experience.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. No, I can't wait to try it. It'll be good to try for sure.
The wing thing might change it as well.
Yeah.
You know, obviously the wing, you know, the lift that it can create will help you get up on the foil. So having a strap,
Yeah.
even just the front foot. I know a guy on the Central Coast who uses straps, but he has, you know, he's done some damage at a bad fall. But I saw a video, I think it was the Blue Planet guys, and one of the Hawaiians said, look, don't learn with it,
Yeah.
but exactly that. When you get proficient, you know when to jump off and get your feet out, you can carve a whole lot harder. They feel way more control, especially coming off the white water and things like that.
Yeah.
So I reckon, you know, a lot of us will start experimenting with it, but it's just you don't want to teach people with it.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
they can really do some damage. That was just a general Yeah, yeah. It makes sense. Doesn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, like things like the Eco Foil, which is meant to be an all-round foil board. And funnily enough, that all-round 2-in-1, the sales have dropped off, we started selling it again. We get a few people coming in, they just want a board for behind the boat they can fit anyone on, and they can also learn the sup on it. So I don't know about dropping that, but that eco-type floorboard, I would definitely put a front foot strap on it, because that's the perfect, whether it's a 2-in-1 or a dedicated floorboard, there is a market already. People coming in, they want a board to win for it. They just look at it and think they want to do it. But it's another market. Maybe it's just the front.
All right.
So great, we have have you seen the 4-in-1 wood foil board?
I did see it at the factory, but I assumed it was here, but it's not one here.
Yeah.
So how many sizes does that come in?
We currently have it 4 sizes.
Yeah. From about 100, a little bit below 90 to 140. It's like 130.
Yeah, something like that. All sizes.
Yeah.
Middle of the range, around 100 to 125 or
Yeah. 135.
How much is that half? Relative to a SUP, it's more, it's
How much money?
relative to a triple X pulse, a SUP, it's more, isn't it?
The cost. It's probably very similar because it's actually Ecotech. So that board will only be in Ecotech as well. So, or you can buy it in Triple X if you want to, but it actually works really well. In fact, I learned how to surf on SUP on that because I had to sell my board, which was the one that you searched around. But yeah, it's quite big to do anything, but it really gets super easy into the wave. You can kind of without the foil.
length-wise, it's around between 7.2 and 7.7.
It's almost like it looks like a speed bump, but a lot wider.
Yeah.
Cut off nose, so you can pedal it really easy. It's got a tail like this speed, but it looks immediately wider. It's actually a cute board. And I think the one thing that's really interesting is it's got 2 slots, so it's got actually 4, like those boards have the slots, and that one has another 2.
It's a double.
And they're all, so it's a double, and then you can move that anywhere.
All the way.
Yeah, you can get it forward of where you want it, your back foot, and paddle hand on SUV, and then back, you want to be a little front from mass base, pull down.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, it's about always. Fun board for all.
Are the specs up there? We can put them on
The foil one's not on. I will put it on the next week. That one's definitely it.
I'm not a windsurfing shop, but if that windsurfing access wing is as good as boys say it is, and they're usually right, we get a good all-round windsurfing crossover board. You put that access. Have you windsurfing access wing?
I haven't, no, we've been talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try one soon.
Actually, they live right next to you.
Yeah, Evan does.
Yeah.
Not me.
But wow.
Because if the wing is as outstanding as it is, we could possibly start selling the windsurfing.
Ecotech is your favorite anyway. Huh? The Ecotech is your favorite anyway.
Yeah.
All right. Then any more question about foiling or? Okay, that's good. Let's move this out of the way. Okay, actually, I guess now we only get one more. Did everybody have a look at the windsurfer? How many shops actually sell windsurfboards other than Michael and so 3? Maybe we do it like again like last time where we have another special meeting just with the 3 shops together, and then we can, or you can talk to Jonah directly.
Yeah, whenever we need to go.
Yeah, it would be way more easy than that. Anyway, the range is definitely pretty much how it should be.
Yeah, so we have three wakeboard designs. Basically, really loose down the line wakeboard, a little more drawn out down the line wakeboard, and kind of an onshore wakeboard, as well as freestyle wind, free ride board, and freestyle board. That's the basic line. There's also a prototype, dedicated wind foil board that we packed in it. If they can finish it in time, I'm taking it home with me. I'm not going to be able to report it in a week or 2. Hopefully with an access for it.
Okay, with the news.
Another one. Yeah, this one. The 90, right?
All right, then I think we can move to the next. Still a few more things. Does anybody want to open up? Oh yeah. All right, then just a few more things. Try to maybe go through them a bit faster. There's one little project that we started. It's not finished yet, but I actually really excited about it. So we mentioned before that, so you see the board bags in the factory. So one of our goals is to create a really, we've seen it, a really wide range so that no matter what you deal with, somebody deals with surfing or supping, somebody with foiling, somebody with this. So no matter which way and where you overlap, you can take, okay, a couple of these boards, I only take cheaper boards, I only take this. So it's a huge effort to create such a huge range. And obviously it takes time, but it helps a lot to not having to change it every year. So the good thing is that we can kind of build the range, as you can see, bigger and bigger. And yeah, let you guys choose, wait, these ones work over there, these ones work over there. And we have a few issues, which is we run our own factory and we try to control the quality by controlling everything there. And one of the things that we have issues with is definitely supply, and paddles making in another factory, it's hard for us, board bags as well. And so we didn't really push a lot to sell the bags as well as the paddles, because most of the time we have to ship them from China to you, and so it's a big pain in the butt to order something from us and then something from somewhere else. We're just not big enough to be able to handle something like that. So our goal is to, I mean, between us being in Cobra and having, we have a lot of experience also work with fins. Me, I made propellers and paddles before in Cobra. So paddles was always one of our goals to make. And yeah, we basically, I've been trying to make this agreement for a long time, and I'm really actually stoked about this. We come up with an agreement that we still have to work on. It's one of the paddles that we would like to do, to use like you've seen our normal balsa paddles, and I'm really happy about them. But I've talked to Jim from Quick Blade, and he's hopefully going to come over pretty soon. The idea is next month or the month after, and help us develop the paddle production line. And if he doesn't do it, we do it anyway. But so he basically wants to come and set up his production in our factory as well. So he has one production in America, one in China, and he would like to have another one in Thailand. And he also has agreed that we would use our balsa that we have cutoffs, and the idea was to create like a paddle that's made from waste. So it's like we use all our offcuts that we have in our factory, because every single board obviously has 4 corners of fiberglass, all kinds of stuff. There is a lot of balsa that is cut off, and it can be actually puzzled back together into a big piece, and it can be CNC, and we can make these paddles like they look like these, and I can pass these around, and I think they look pretty awesome. They're just the first prototypes. Maybe go give one this way. And the magic with him is, again, this is something similar to with what we're doing with Adrian. I mean, everybody knows that somebody who has a quick blade knows how to make paddles. I mean, we can make some paddles for sure, and we would have to do a lot more to become as good as they are. And we would have to do the same thing if we wanted to make as good foils as you do. So I think there is always a good idea to do a collaboration. Yes, for sure, we will always make some of our own paddles, but I think some ideas like this, where we have a 2-piece board and everything, I mean, a 3-piece paddle or a paddle that can be adjusted to any length in this kind of way, a travel paddle like this is pretty awesome. I don't know, everybody probably seen these out, no? Well, check these out. Anyway, they go all together with these other shots. You've seen them before? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, for me, those are pretty awesome. Actually, John brought them back because we showed them at the trade show in Tokyo, and yeah, it was pretty magic. He came over there, and yeah, we filmed him, so he can't go backwards. Definitely, we have to go forward with this. And yeah, actually, he was Jim was with us 3 months ago, and yeah, we looked into the space where the factory will be, which yeah, we're excited about. So that is actually pretty magic, because when you order boards, the paddle will be starting to be produced. It means that every single time you have an order and you produce any kind of boards, we can make the paddle from scratch actually, and they will always be finished with the order, or we have some in stock. So we don't actually depend on what it is, which also allows us to get different sizes, different models, different shapes. Like a lot of people always complain that we have only one paddle, which I agree. But then again, we talked to Michael as well, our different shops. That's about 80% of what we need to sell anyway. So at the moment, we didn't really bother too much about the other 20. So the paddle is one thing. The next thing is, so we also have another idea where we keep if you think about the range of what we do, and I mean, it's getting pretty big. So from surf to sun to race board. For us, basically there is this base, and you have this, and it's hopefully tries to be stable.
Get another shot.
Huh? Did you destroy it? Good job. Yeah, one of them actually is a 3-piece, and one is a 2-piece that gets.
That wasn't 3-piece.
Was it?
Yeah, it's a 2-piece.
That's it. Well, this one is a 3-piece.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it actually disconnects by a click. Yeah. So, for example, like again, we're also working on different shapes when we. I mean, sometimes shapes go away or go. This one is one new shape that we're working on. That, for example, a lot of people will say, the flow is kind of not going on. This one is not slow. So I would love to hear your feedback of which models you. We don't need to do this now, but I will definitely send you some email and ask you for some feedback of which models you sell, which one you don't like, and we know very well what we sell. Plus the new webpage actually is I can see every single click and who looks from where at what page anytime, and it's still now by far, by a lot of margin, the speed that people look at the most, and the creek right after. Actually the creek and the speed are like same. It's very similar, and right after it's still the style. And yeah, the eco-text for sure. But most people don't search and stay a long time on the webpage for the eco-text because you go in the shop and that's one of the boards you buy. So for example, I mean, have a look at this board. Marcus, this is actually the first board that Marcus shaped and designed. And more we're interested to try to see if Marcus wants to do more work. It's interested in. You want to say anything about the placid?
Do you want me to?
Yeah, why not? Does anybody want Marcus to say something about the placid? Yeah. All right. Actually, Bird would probably love this board. It's probably.
Since I got addicted to foiling, about a year later I tried to surf up again and I couldn't stand on any of my boards anymore. And I asked the guys if they'd mind if I designed my own board that would hopefully still be high performance, but maybe I could stand on it. And this is what I came up with, and it's sort of taken from the acid. You can see the tail has the little dip in it, but it's got another extra one because I've kept it a little more parallel, but I still wanted the thin tail, and I really wanted it to still be high performance, but be more stable than the acid and more versatile, hopefully, like using small waves. We used it down in Margaret River with me and James, and we used it in some smaller waves with this twin fin. It's basically the Mark Richards template exactly. It's got a lot of foil fin boxes. The back one we found didn't be needed. This box here, obviously you can adjust your little rear fin. It's the fin idea, basically I saw the hipster twin that Smith do, and that sort of made sense to me. Tried it in a board of my own design. Went really good in small stuff. And then we tried it in some bigger stuff, probably like 6-7 foot and barreling, Jimmy did. And he switched it out to normal thruster fins with the rear fin right at the back, and he was pumped. So yeah, so far everything we've done, it's been really good. Jimmy's going to be taking one board on his 3 boat trips, and he's taking this board. He's just found that it's really versatile and still high performance. Like if you follow him on Instagram, there was a few sneaky shots of him surfing it in Margaret River. Yeah, the yellow one.
What's the name of the model?
I call it the Placid because it's just a toned down, in my eyes, it's a toned down version of the acid. It's got a little more flip in the nose, just because it's wider, and obviously if you're going to surf it in the critical part of the wave, you're going to go on nose all the time. It does have a bit more tail rocker too. And yeah, just the board, it's really fast. I've only surfed it a handful of times so far. I'm still learning to surf again. And it's really fast. I'm using small waves as the 20 setup. And yeah, I was stoked with it. But yeah, that's a little project that I did for myself, and Jimmy got one. And we've been really stoked with it so far. Now we're talking about possibly introducing it into the line, or maybe replacing it. I don't know. What are we talking about?
Is it only one size?
No. It's so far, this is a prototype.
Right.
Mine and Jimmy's are exactly the same.
How many meters is that?
This is 62. Jimmy's one was 77, 75. And they were exactly the same as this here. I thought of here just to show the concept of it. It's more of it, trying to, for me, it was to try and have one that's stable and sort of one board you could have but still really high performance. Yeah, so it's quite thin in the tail. This is 26 and a half. Yeah. 7.4 by 26 and a half. So yeah. Any questions?
What do you think called Placid?
Sorry?
They call it Placid.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I thought it was a Placid.
Anyway, names.
The name, who cares? Cool.
It'll come up later.
It's your board, mate. You call it.
Yeah.
I like it because it looks really sexy actually, and I tried it, and you know that I can't ride for shit. So it worked also for me. So if Jimmy can ride it, he can ride it, I can ride it. I think it's fun, and it looks so thin, and so it's how many liters?
It's 62 this one.
Yeah,
even
which
this
one was the one that I rode?
the Euro, the 77 like that.
Yeah, but even 77 liter, that's not like a lot of volume, and I could ride it, and it wasn't difficult. It was actually quite easy to ride. And yeah, I mean, all the area on the nose, I guess that's...
Yeah, so it's funny for me because it's nearly the same volume as my acid, but because there's a lot more board, you spread it thin and still get a lot of bite from the rails because you're actually riding a thinner board than I do in my acid. So, because the acid for me is my favourite board, but yeah, I just can't use it anymore.
How many foot is that?
Sorry?
How many foot?
Foot? 7'4".
And the one that Jimmy's on, how would Jimmy has to be 80 kilo, I think?
Jimmy is like at his all-time low at the moment at 80.
Right.
He's usually around 85.
Okay,
And
so
he usually rides 10 litres less than his body weight.
Okay, so what's the length of Jimmy's and what's the volume on it?
His is 7'4" by 26 and a half as well,
Yeah.
but his is 77 litres, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, and obviously this isn't production size or width or volume, it's just stuff that we built to try it, to see how it went, and yeah, we were stoked. The good thing is that Jimmy was really stoked and he knows what he's doing, so it was, yeah, that's it. That's the classic maybe to be renamed.
Okay.
I like it, that's good.
What's that?
I like it.
Yeah, you'll see a lot more of it in the next few weeks.
Tip and I could ride it. I could look at
I could prone it.
Yeah.
No, you'd be surprised, it's crazy stable. I've never had a surf sup that I can just stand on in one spot. Usually I have to paddle around or sit down. And on Jimmy's one, when I use it, I can just stand there. Even in choppy water, just stand still. It's really stable. So.
You'd be underwater though, no?
Yeah, give it a go. Like, you should give it a go. It's
Give it a go.
for sure, yeah. Cool. Happy?
Alright, then one more thing.
That's two more.
Two more. Now they work as one. Okay, so another thing that we're working on, which is always a way to figure out how to do it and how to handle it, is, again, we have the base, and we're working on making the base stable, adding things to it, taking some of it out, but don't try to change too much. But then there are some things that are just like hardcore, or team riders. You have to work with we want to work with the best people that can. So like the best people in the world, they want to say, hey, I'm riding this. And it's clear because we believe technology is the best. There's not much out there that can compete with that. And so what do we do? What can we do with it? Not everything is for mass market and selling a lot of boards, but a lot of things could be, what do we do when somebody wants something really special and he wants to wait for it, or he could wait for it, or we can design some stuff. And at the same time, how can we work together with very powerful people? So the one in the photo, I'm not sure if everybody here knows him, but that's basically the current world champ. That's Sean Pointer. And so we've now got he's riding with these new boards. And so there's a range of boards. What we try to do is we come up with a system of, they've just started their own brand. And they don't want to make boards or like go to China and build shit boards. They obviously Sean Pointer, I mean, in America is very, very known. I don't know, it's probably not so powerful in Australia or other parts. But yeah, for sure, he rips and he's worked with Bert on a range of boards. And the idea is to make some really hardcore boards. Probably won't sell up 500, but there is they come up in a different construction as well, which is basically the same as normal, about vapor. So those boards are about 4.5 kilo. Again, they're not for everybody, but they're the kind of thing that's almost in between a custom and a standard. So when somebody wants a custom, and as you know, anything from our range, which is already a lot, can be also adjusted for if you like, if you have some odd shape in yourself too. So, and then this is a bit of, that's the project right now with Sean, and they brought a couple of other guys in that basically, like I really love this photo. This one, this was just went out, so they basically now, Sean and actually in Australia probably it's more, let's see, so this is Ian, what's Kanga? Yeah, that's right, Ian Camps, and so they're all in one team. They have like 3 really powerful guys, and they do a lot of trainings or camps up in Mexico, and so they have this set of boards, and they were designed with Bird together with us, and yeah, it's, I don't estimate that we will sell 1 million, but I think it's still something that pushes the limits, and that's also something we need to do. And obviously they have a lot of power for the marketing as well, which is also what we have to work on. All right, so maybe have a look at these. These are like, again, they come only in this kind of construction, in Vapor Light, unless you ask for them to be the standard construction, which is also possible, of course. And if you check this out and you like it, obviously you can ask also the normal products to be in this construction. We have exactly 2 more things. Let's bring the Sunsports. I mean, we've showed you the production of the Sunsports, and we're really stoked about it. Again, actually, and this is really important, I think, also for Bert in the end to know for us, and especially for Bert and also Dylan, the surfboards for sure are his thing. It's actually quite amazing when you see how often and how many times I'm in the water now and surfing, I mean on the foil, and in whatever waves. It's kind of strange that he's still holding on, not trying, even the sub and even the foil, nothing. He's totally stoked on his surfboards and on the longboards, and that's it. I mean, he's the full-on hardcore surf guy, and that is exactly what the surf guy is. And so again, I tried to explain many times that the surf market is not something we go in and we try to sell some boards. And that's why you've never seen us really pushing it. We are interested in doing something stupid while we're not ready, but we will be ready. And the goal, and this is what we always have, Bert's goal is to get a world title. And I won't stop to kick Bert's ass until he has the world champ on his board. Is that a goal or not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so you have to keep Bert's ass through. No, and it's not unrealistic. Medina was checking these boards out in France the other day, and he asked us to send his because he couldn't believe this. So that's Medina. Right, okay. We are totally not worried that within the right time, which will come, we get there. Let me just put this up, please. All right, you want to start?
Yeah. Well, essentially, we're probably more well known as a stand-up paddleboard company now. Our main business is sort of SUPs, boards, race boards, but essentially Sunova started as a surf company, and this is what we really want to launch and push and get back into. You guys have all walked through the factory today and seen where we are and seen where we're at, and essentially we're ready. We've got everything implemented. We know we can put out the best quality boards possible. We want to start doing that and get it together. Now, Sunovas are a really good product. I'm not sure if you guys have had a look at these sort of boards here. It's come up now. It's just disappeared. But everyone anyone that's jumped on one of these, they really, really like it. The way it's put together, it works well, they're light, they're strong, they've got amazing flex. However, they are priced quite high in comparison to a lot of other boards out on the market. So at the end of the day, Sunovas are there, but they're always going to be a niche market. They're not going to be a bread and butter. You're not going to get every customer through your store wanting to buy one of these. You have to put a lot more groundwork in, and we have to do a lot more from our side to actually get people to understand the value of these boards before they'll actually go and drop that sort of money on them. So what we have been working on over the last couple of years is the Suns boards. So obviously for the guys that were here last year, Cam got up, and we've been doing in the SUP for the past 2 years. We've been trialling a range of different constructions. The SUP seems to be holding up pretty well. How do you guys go with them, Cam? They're pretty durable boards?
Oh, in terms of construction, they're great. They're great family all-rounders. One of the biggest benefits, I guess, to them is that it's got a full deck room. So for families, like no one boards out there to do that. So you throw kids in the front, yoga, dog, all that sort of stuff, and you combine that with the quality and the durability of them, and it's an easy sale. Like, last year we did, and I've done it for a few people in the shop, is you actually get a screwdriver and you bang it or even a hammer with it, and they're fine. They don't even need to chip or anything. So the durability of them is amazing. And what it does for as a retailer is it offers a price point product without having to go to, say, China, even though you can get goods back in different stuff out of China now, but you can come to these guys and to one place stop, you can get, if you're getting a 20-foot container, well now you can fill it half with Sunova, which is a premium brand, and half with your cheap end of the board. So it's a good opportunity for a retailer to be able to get two birds with one stone, you're only dealing with one person. So it definitely helps in that sense, for sure.
And essentially we've taken that same construction or similar construction that we've been doing in the SUPs for the past 2 years. We've seen how well they've stood up to the test of time and use. We've got boards down here at Memories that are out getting abused 200 days a year, and they still hold up really, really well. And we've actually taken that construction and changed it slightly and put it into the surfboards. So I'm not sure if any of you guys have seen some of the videos posted on social media over the last few months with bird jumping on it, or some Thai guys driving a Jeep over the board. But essentially they hold up really well, and they're more of a sort of accessible option to a lot of people. A lot of people aren't willing to drop this sort of cash straight up, and a lot of people don't need a board like this. They're not the most high performance surfer. If you actually take a look at the market and look who's out there buying boards and what actually sells, it's a sort of entry level to mid tier, and that's essentially what we want to try and achieve with the Suns. We want to bring out a quality product that's super durable at a really good price point, and try and side with you guys as well, and give you really good margins on it as well. So if you can get out there and have boards that are a good price that you can do, I think at the end of the day, that's what we're trying to achieve.
Can you tell us anything about the construction?
Yeah, certainly can. Right, so essentially with the construction of the boards, they're EPS epoxy boards, so polystyrene core, and then they've got layers of fiberglass over the top. So it's essentially pretty similar to any other surfboard out there. They are a stringless construction, and it is fiberglass on foam, but the way we actually apply the materials with the process and actually the stuff that we mix in the resin, it essentially gives it the strength of a sandwich construction board. It's there's no real secret with the materials of what actually goes into the board. It's just the process in which those materials are actually put together, which generates the strength and the durability of the boards. So with the Suns, we've kept it simple initially. We've gone for 4 shapes. So we've got a shortboard shape, so a little bit more high performance. This is the model number 2 at the moment. It's a sort of all-round board, 2+1 setup, so really good for beginners, intermediate, people that are wanting to learn to surf and actually progress into something a little bit better as well. We do have a longboard shape as well, and also a fish shape. So there's probably about currently 30 SKUs available across the 4 different sizes, and they also come in a range of colours as well. So essentially, these type of boards here, we want to get out on the market and sort of compete with brands like Torque. And I know from talking to a lot of people at different shops that they've sort of really hit the nail on the head with the market and the price point and the area that they're trying to hit. So if we can sort of emulate that as well, then I think we'll do pretty well. So essentially, there's going to be a lot more volume in these than there ever would be in a Sunova, just because it's a lot more accessible to a lot of people. Anything else like that?
Is it going to have its own branded website? Or?
Yes. It will. So there's not a lot of information currently out there at the moment. So really we didn't really plan to release anything until the dealer meeting this year and actually show you guys some boards. And over the next couple of months we will be working and putting everything together. Actually, Tino's organised some interns to come over. So
How much are they in there?
650 for a short board.
Up to what size?
Up to 7 foot. And then 7 and 8 they'll be 750, and then 8 to 9 they'll be 850. So essentially a 9 foot long board will be Aussie dollars.
Yes, they eventually be about 450 euros, something about that level.
So obviously this depends where you're based. There might be some slight price adjustments.
Yeah, the webpage actually I showed already last year, but again we really focused on the factory a lot this year. It was really heavy for us to move it, build it better. You've seen how many people were here last year? Yeah, how much different looks the factory now from last year?
100%.
So yeah, you can probably imagine how much all of us were working, and so yeah, webpage had to kind of wait a little bit longer. But now the good thing is it does look pretty awesome. So next steps.
Now the factory is where it is, we can start focusing on small or big things.
And another good thing though is when we started in Australia, or with the stops in Australia, we had 3 shops at the beginning. We ended up to be 6 shops. We didn't have a web page, and we ended up to where we are without any web page. And in my opinion, still, when you have a product that's awesome and you have people who are interested into it, that's the most important job. And that's why we will never change to push shops. As long as there's shops and good shops, there will be us with them. And that's the difference to a lot of other brands that, like, trust us, we have also thought about what do we do, should we do online, should we, the whole bullshit, this way or that way. It's not possible, in my opinion, in our opinion, to go direct to link away from the shops, because, I mean, you know very well, you have the base and we can't ever have it, and that's a good thing. In fact, that's your job. We can't be everywhere, and I can't believe that so many brands believe they could. I really can't believe it. And I think it's the downfall. The first a brand decides to go online and not use shops, that's the last, in my opinion. So
that's what
we'll see if that happens or not, but
that's what we want to do.
Let's hope the shops don't go away. All right, I don't think so. I think we're pretty good on that. Well, Jared has had the first batch of them. They were just, basically, they were fresh as fresh could be.
Prototypes.
Yeah, more or less you could almost still call them prototypes. Yeah, what do you feel? What do you think?
I think, overall from where we started, and I think, like Dylan said, is we probably pushed you guys to, or you really wanted to get a book out there, so we appreciate that as well. Shapes are good. Construction, yeah, it's really solid and lightweight. So I think having chat to Dylan, one of the big things is you can produce what you like, but if the market's not there, it's not there. So the big thing with what Dylan sort of identified is 80% of the surf is out there, maybe even more, over in this market. So I think there's a massive opportunity pricing's good. Yeah, the shapes obviously, you guys have been doing a long time, you know, we're doing that shows. The construction is great, so I think it's for the value of the customer, it's a no-brainer, and they're easy to sell, good shop. Yeah, I think there's a few things we've sort of suggested which we've already taken on board and working on, so I think there's a big opportunity in Australia, especially with some brands. So looking forward to getting some more of them in.
Over the next few months, we'll get a lot more content together. We'll get a web page set up. We'll get everything that you guys essentially need to sell boards. But at the end of the day, we want to work really closely, like we do with Sunova and everything else that we do, and essentially side with the retailers and give you guys good margins. Because if you're, at the end of the day, you're the point of contact to the final end user, and you're going to sell what you make money on and what you like and what you think's a good board that the customer is right for the customer. So if we can put all that into place, then I think we'll do pretty well.
And it's important just to, once again, to be able to choose and the range. When you went to the factory to see where it is, the products there now, they look pretty good. I mean, I think there is everything that there could be. For sure, there's here and there some issues and that need to be addressed, but in general, I think everybody can find something to fill, quite a good amount into a container so that shipping is cheaper and everybody can be more efficient. So that's, I think, the big point. And the suns, that was also one of the main reasons. It's much easier to fill a container up with suns, and you get a lot more SKUs for the amount of dollars, and you might not have to be afraid to get stuck with it. So web page next for the suns. The web page for the suds is more or less finished, and we're still trying to decide if we put it together or not. I still think we should separate it, but at the moment maybe it just starts together, and it will separate later because it's actually there. Basically, we have to add SKUs, and it can be there in a very short time. And then prices are coming clearly, and that's it. Yeah, if you have any questions, then out there now they come in 4 colors, exactly the ones you saw: orange, teal, red, and white. And again, one other thing, this is basically the first construction that's the cheapest, lowest end, and it should be the heaviest one. And we actually made them a bit, they came out even lighter than they're supposed to be. They're actually a little bit lighter, but that's important, I think, because once you get a good board to sell, the next sell will already, we have exactly this construction that can upsell already with a lighter product, even better looking, and it's eventually the same but lighter.
Yeah, for sure. Essentially, we're launching a new brand. We started a couple of years ago with Cam and getting suns together and in the subs, but over the years, in the coming few years, we want to try and do a bit more in different constructions, different shapes, and get more people on board and sort of really push it. In the future, this is where we foresee the volume being. When you look at the surf market as a whole, there's a lot of people out there in the water, comparison to the guys out there on SUP. So if we could tap into that, it should be good.
So are you saying this construction is going to change? Or you
No, this will be the base and will always be there.
Okay.
But the magic is, by just using a different layer, the technology being the same, it can be running in the same production line you saw, and we can come up with a product that's essentially 10% lighter, probably better for performance by putting stringers in with just a little adjustment, and a more cool look. This is eventually the simplest thing, and it kind of looks quite nice already. But we can come up with digital graphics, customs are no problem. Which is actually the biggest advantage that I always thought on lip tech or different kind of brands that use molds, which I always thought if you want to make a cheap board, you need molds, and good molds, not for NSP. In Korea we had the NSP was a not so good mold, so that every board basically come out of the mold. You have to spend a lot of time to rework it. So the torque, that was actually my opinion, the magic step that they did. They used proper molds, but that's a super expensive mold, probably about $20,000 for one mold. meaning you can already imagine how many you have to sell for one, and therefore custom is a no-go unless you use again a different technology. And this one we could make customs, custom graphic, anything. This, like, I actually think our goal should be about 10,000 boards, no problem. Not today, not tomorrow, but that has to be the goal.
I think it is achievable.
Do you vacuum baggage?
No, that's again. In fact, when we talk to Bert, we were like, Bert, we need a board that's super durable. That's absolutely cheap, doesn't cost anybody anything. It lasts forever. Oh yeah, I said durable. And it's faster than anything anybody else can make. And it is whatever. And it needs no space in the production line. It can produce way more boards than anything. Well, and then he said, nah, it's not possible. He said, please, go, here's a beer. Think about it. He came back a week later, and that was it.
Here we are today.
And then he had 3 weeks holiday, of course.
Sorry? Jump on it. Jump on it.
Yeah, why not?
Do I want it?
We want everybody can jump. You can put it on the wall, you can drive over with the car, it doesn't matter.
Did you see the car video? Yeah.
So the car video is at 35,000 likes at the moment. The one with Bert jumping on it is at 89. And next week, in 2 months, comes the elephant.
Who else wants to get on?
You have to jump from everybody to take it.
Sometimes I do go to the shop, there's stuff with our sub sometimes.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, you just, man, you see someone do that.
Yeah.
Use a demo sub, get it out. I'm nervous every time I do it. But I do pull it out of the bag and it does work.
That's good. Just make sure the ground's flat and there's no holes under it. Yeah.
Is that white one in the corner the stock standard one as well?
Yeah, so this essentially here, that's the standard trim without the red rail. It's just a little bit of a custom. That's actually a Christian Fletcher design board. And this one's in a lighter construction again. So just doing a little bit of research and development and figuring out what works and what goes together. That is actually lighter than the standard construction we're doing now. And if it holds up well, it might be something we work towards in the future.
So how much glass is on the paper?
You can actually glass them and make it.
Yeah.
That's their paper.
This is not big.
I
No,
thought
this
this
is
one
not.
is at the factory with paper.
This is still, no, there's no board. Oh, all right, perfect. Yeah, everybody's doing that. No, this is good,
There you go.
We're almost finished.
Nah, I already explained them that you work hard like hell. This is gonna be a magic video, I already know this. I saw you being stoked about this.
Yeah, okay, we've got some cool shit happening. So where's Sebastian?
Yeah, he's supposed to be coming, but normally he's like about 3 hours late, so I guess.
Or a day late.
Yeah, so another thing, obviously, on the Suns, it allows us to be a bit different brand. It allows us also to do different things. So maybe Bert, you can explain a little bit what we talked about the other day. We can get some things going, like what Surftech or other brands are doing with different shapers. We can really we don't need to use the limits that we have for Sunova, which are good limits, and they are really important to keep the brand stable and not become crazy. But with Suns, essentially, we can take any shaper on board that's good and go in this area and work with them. You got to have Bert the whole day, and everybody's like, ooh. So that's it.
I'm sorry guys, but
Some people are important. Everybody's important, but I think we create stuff for everybody. This will be something magic for sure, and we are really stoked that we can work together.
Definitely. I mean, it sucks that Bert doesn't have time for you, but it's after the season, and for us that means it's before the next season. So this time is very important for us to build new boards, come up with new designs, and we came a long way, I think, in the current board design that we have. And in the short time that we have been working together, I think created something very special for video surfing.
I think we've done like 3 seasons now.
Yeah. 3 seasons, I think it was like 4 rounds of boards.
And I always had the challenge to find somebody that could put what I would tell him into reality as far as surfboards go. And Bert was the first person that, when I told him something, he would take it in and then come back with an answer. Or I could ask him something about why does this board feel in a certain way, or how can we increase speed or stability or whatever. And he'd always come up with a logical explanation, which is rare if you talk about surfboard manufacturing. And I couldn't be happier than writing the boards. Like that's, for myself, it changed the way I could surf. Cool. Yeah.
Where are you in the photo? Can't see you.
Well, you know there's somebody there.
Let's start from again.
What speed is that, Sebastian?
That's about 70 k's. 70, 80 k's.
Yeah.
What I like about this section through here, look how smooth the trail is. When you watch most of the guys on waves of this size, they're fucking bouncing down the face of the wave and they're struggling to keep control. That board just leaves the cleanest line.
Yeah.
And it's really well engaged with the face. Because we've got a couple of things going on. We've got the shape of the board, which is important, and we've sort of revolved a few shapes around. But then the construction gives us this really unique feel too. So I'm sure a lot of you know with the subs and with the surfboards, and even with the sailboards, you get a very smooth ride, and it's because of the fact that you can press the bottom of the board and it sort of squeezes in a little bit and bounces back. So we've applied the same principles in Sebastian's board and kept the bottoms a little lighter and softer. And so it tends to just smooth out the bumps, have a little bit of a shock absorbing feel to it. And it shows when you see like that video, when you see other guys really bouncing and struggling to maintain control. And there's even, I'm not sure if that's the same video, but there's one where you see Sebastian just fully like fade back, and then just pick a crazy line, like really. Was that? Oh, I guess
So in big wave surfing, it's a control factor that determines what line you're going to take, and most of the time you're just racing away from the wave. You're not thinking about actually surfing it, and you have different type of waves. And like Jaws is like a down the line wave, and if you're deep enough, you can pick a very fast line, kind of come up and then drop in with the wave and do something, either pull inside or try to do a turn or a carp. And Nazare is very peaky. It's like open ocean swells that combine and become one gigantic peak. So it's very difficult to stay deep, and it's even more difficult to do a maneuver. And using the old boards, I was just hanging on for my life, trying to make the wave. And the shape and also the technology that Bert has come up with and we worked on really allows me to perform and to place myself behind the peak, way behind the peak, still have the control, have the speed, make it around the section, and now we're doing areas. Yeah. It's like it changed everything to me.
Yeah, so where we're basically going now with it is like in the early, like when we first started, it was more about building a board that can handle the speed, that has a smooth ride, that can sort of outrun that avalanche. And really what Sebastian's asking for now is he's asking for boards that he can go and attempt big manoeuvres and big turns in waves that big. And so now we've sort of got new criteria that we're trying to fulfill, and that's to basically get more performance out of the board that you're going to be riding a 60-foot face wave on. That's it.
Have you got one of the boards here by any chance at the factory? Or?
Nah.
Actually, we have one, the first one.
The original one, yeah.
Which isn't a Sunova, but that's like our starting point. Just special board as well.
But we've kind of actually kept them under wraps. Like, it's funny because I've done a number of trips to Portugal, and all the other boards of all the other big wave surfers are basically stashed in various sheds. You know, Red Bull, Mercedes, some other shed, and there's like jet skis, big wave guns, tow boards. And so I've actually gone in there and looked at every board from every other shaper and every other rider. And some of them are like death machines. I look at some of these boards and I'm like, what's the fucking logic here? And I can't possibly fathom how crooked it
Don't
is.
close it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's impressive how like non-logical
Yeah.
shapes are floating around in giant waves.
Do you make them heavy or are they light?
Yeah,
just
really
add
heavy.
weight and
Yeah,
weight and
we
weight.
put a lot of weight in them. The
No,
shed,
our boards are the lightest.
Really?
All of them, yeah.
okay.
Our boards are between 7.5, 8 kilos.
Yeah,
And
yeah, some guys are running like 14.
yeah,
Yeah.
Which is
and
what you
honestly-
always said. You said, if you don't have pack, maybe you have to put weight.
Yeah.
But if there's some
Well, they're
pack,
trying to
it's
actually add weight, but they've got these crazy designs that are just going to be out of control. And the only way to keep them in the water is to just keep putting more weight in. That's their logic, rather than, you know, like if you look at a longboard, it has a very soft rail, and the water wraps the rail and helps the board to stick to the face. So it's the design of the board that helps it suck to the wave, not the actual weight. And so again, you know, like the design of the board can do things to help give you control. So a lot of the other guys, even with their weight placement, like a lot of the theory is that you put the weight in the tail to help hold the tail in. But, you know, I'll give you a classic example. For something to be stable in motion, if I was to get an object and throw it, it's automatically going to revolve around in space until it gets to a point where the centre of gravity will always be in front of the centre of drag. And the classic example I can give is a plane dart. Okay, it's heavy at the front, it's got the little fins at the back. You can throw it backwards, but it's going to spin around and correct itself in flight. So if you put the weight at the front and the fins at the back, even if you lose a bit of control, the board will correct itself. It's like auto-correct. Whereas you put the weight at the back, if you lose control, it's just going to spin out. So it's just, that's just a principle of physics. Yeah.
And so I'm not sure how many big wave boards we're going to sell, but in fact,
Well, we're not selling.
we're making an agreement that we don't want to deal with more big wave guys. And we do love the Germans.
No, it's funny, we've actually had guys like, we did a deal with Sebastian that we wouldn't make big weight boards for everyone else. We've actually had a lot of guys come and like line up and say we want one. Just kind of just can't do it. You know, but Sebastian's goal is to get a world record right at this wave. That's still on the cards. You still want to do that?
it's like not the main goal. It has never been the main goal actually.
Okay.
It was always about performance, but obviously, as we're surfing the biggest waves in the world, there's something out there. And for me, honestly, it's more about performance and trying to surf the waves in a way that you surf small waves or sort of and progress. That's it.
Yeah, so we've got some cool new stuff happening, but I don't know, want to talk about it? Keep it.
Nah, let's keep that one.
All right.
Right. Cool.
Anyway, stoked that you work with us. And you will see, in the end, it's one of the parts that we all need to do. And we have Sebastian here that helps us. And we'll grow towards the surfing more when it's all fit together. But sometimes it takes time. Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
And I guess that wraps it up, and we should be able to. Do we still get that swell? There's so much wind. Huh?
It's coming in on Friday night.
Ah, okay. So just exactly when everybody's leaving.
More or less.
Well, I think from what I can gather, it's going to like peak like Saturday night into Sunday. Yeah. But I thought we may get to see a little bit of an appearance today.
Yeah,
Like
tomorrow morning is still 6 to 8 seconds, but tomorrow night is 16 seconds.
Because I've already seen 24 seconds appearing today.
Oh, really?
But like 0.5 of a foot, 0.6 of a foot. Just a real
magic seaweed.
Yeah. It's definitely going to give us a 4-day run, for sure.
All right, I almost forgot one more thing. Well, it has to happen. The one more thing is that we've always said inflatables will come. Who was there already with us many years ago in Giroa when we brought the first inflatable? That was what, 3 or 4 years ago? 2000, probably 3 years ago. Was the second time in your house? No, next to your house.
Yeah, 3 years ago.
Yeah, is there only 3 years ago? No.
Well, we've only had the two offices here and one there.
2 times here. This is the second.
And Rodo,
And then Rotto, and then
it's Mike.
So it's 3 years, 4 conferences.
Exactly, 3 years, 4 conferences, yeah.
time flies.
Yeah, when you have fun.
He gets old. You all look so beautiful still. Anyway, the point was that with Sunova, we never really wanted to do some inflatables that, you know, like, that are not awesome. And that's why last year Tripsticks was here. And Tripsticks for us is still really important. They're figuring out some problems, in fact, with Asian manufacturing. That's not Thailand. And so that's why we already decided to build a second level full of Tripsticks inflatable technology in. That was kind of a joke. But okay, possibly, you never know. You know, there's still that second level and something has to be done with it. So we have actually played around with it for a while, but we didn't really have a lot of time for it. So for Suns, there's already an inflatable and there will be a proper range coming up pretty soon because it totally belongs to the sub range. There is an inflatable as well as a soft top and a hard one. But for Sunova, we don't want to do something just like because everybody is doing it. So we will work on this, and more or less for us, it's pretty good. It's been tested, and the key is it's got a really cool look, and we'll do probably something like limited runs of really cool graphics with local artists, and we can still get a good price for it, and you know have something that again not gets old. It could be the same shape for the next 15 years because, in my opinion, it doesn't change immediately. So it's something that is there's a need. I mean, obviously, 80% of the market, if Starboard is right, means something. So yeah, maybe not everybody's cup of tea, but for sure in Europe it's too big. Like, what is it? Actually, Holland has a lot. So yeah, anybody's interested about this, let's talk about it separately. It doesn't necessarily, like I said, it's not everybody's point, but yeah, we definitely want to work on the inflatables with Suns for sure, with Sunovas. We're still going to have to work on a way. Yeah. And yeah, in fact, that's kind of the most important future steps possibly. And again, with Tripsticks, they're still also working on their technology, and they will actually go ahead with it. Is there any questions other than that? Maybe.
When do you expect to have these for sale?
What's that?
When do you expect to have those like for sale?
In fact, if you order them, they could be available immediately.
Okay.
I mean, immediately, nothing's immediately, but yeah, I mean, I would say let's give us another 6 months, and they're possibly there. I would say for Australian season, it's there. And we're still working out the details with how it works, but yeah, I don't want to say anything wrong at the moment, so we're still figuring out all the details. But yeah, they're definitely available. And in fact, I go to China in a few weeks, and then possibly yeah, work out some ways. They're definitely pick it up, check it out. They're definitely there. For sure, the board is pretty light. It's about 9 kilos for a 10.6. And again, it's only the high-end technology. Sunova would never have a construction that's about price at all. And that's why the graphic is important to be maybe a simple one, maybe a limited run, something that's special. Maybe we custom run graphics.